Alright guys, welcome back. Bubba Shrek here. Got a buddy of mine's 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited here in the shop today. He's already got it fitted with 35s and a Magnuson Supercharger. Yes, you heard that right, a Magnuson Supercharger. 3.6 liter V6, I'll tell you what, this thing's got power for days. It's not a performance car, but it definitely moves them 35s no problem. Today, we're going to give it a little bit of a Rubicon treatment. It is just a regular Unlimited. Get the tow hooks painted red, add a little flare, match the Magnuson. Throw a spacer lift on this, 2-inch, 1.5-inch, new bump stops, get this thing done. Keep watching, I'll show you how to get that done.
Now I've gone ahead and removed the lower shield, and there is also a plate here for impact, brush, rocks. It's not real thick, but it keeps things from getting caught right up into the sway bar and then into the steering as well. 4 bolts on either side. That's what holds the actual main rebar to the frame itself, and we'll get the tow hooks painted. So minor touch, but something that sets it off a little bit.
Alright, well, it's a moment of truth. We got the touches done. It is time to put it on the lift for the lift. So, stop talking about it. Actually, get some work done. Alright, all set. Time to put her up. Alright, so here's what we got from TerraFlex. Got the JL 1.5-inch spacer kit. And we got the bumper or bump stops. Got new ones here. Take these out to me. I don't really put these in a lot just because I like the flex, but the owner wants them in, that way they don't rub on the fenders. It's the whole point of the kit. So far, actually looks pretty good. Got the rears, and we got the front, and then this will actually take out the rake to it as well. So we'll keep looking through here. Oh, we got warnings. Bolts, gotta love bolts. Warnings, gotta love warning. So, warning to driver, this vehicle's been modified, well, whatever. So, we've got stickers. Everybody loves stickers, right? They love stickers. Now, why they take stickers and fold them in half, I couldn't tell you, but stickers. Everybody likes stickers. Advertisement, and hey! Directions. Probably ought to read these. Never worked on a JL before, but oh my goodness, look, put it up in the air. Gotta be safe. Okay, alright, so we'll peruse them. We'll get this thing underway. But overall, it looks like a pretty stout kit. So, I don't see any issue with it. So I got alignment pins on there. Everything should go in. Raise her up just a hair. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it's a pretty nice kit. And 1, 2, 3. Gotta love TV magic. Now, I'll show you how I did that. Now you can do this in your driveway if need be. You've got to pull the sway bar and link bolts, 18mm bolt, pull that out so you can loosen this. Do it on both sides. Unplug the 4-wheel drive actuator, loosen the shock bolt from here. And the biggest thing is loosening the arm nuts, or the arm bolts. There, down here on the bottom. You want to get these loose so that way you can move this axle a lot easier, bring it down. You've got to support it. Once the shocks are out, just droop straight down, and that'll help you flex a little bit better. So one of the things I'm also going to do is remove the track bar, and that will give me a little bit of more movement in order to be able to get the spring out and get this thing installed.
Alright, so we got our sway bar disconnected, pulled up out of the front axle, and we've got our brake line brackets pulled loose. This is a 15 millimeter, this is an 18 millimeter. This one's encapsulated. The other side actually is a nut and bolt. It does not have the cage nut for the backside, so we'll need a wrench on that as well. But from here, before I pull the shocks, let this axle down, we have to loosen the control arm hardware. It's a 21 here and a 24 on the backside. But with this way up in the air like this, I don't trust it. So I'm gonna set it down, get some jack stands underneath of the front. That way we start loosening things, nothing comes crashing down. Alright, we got a spring out. We're going to replace the bump stop while we're here. These essentially just pop out. So grab it, pull it out. New one going in. Always recommend put in what the spring does, otherwise you're fighting through the spring. You can use silicone, but being foam, use a little bit of Windex. It'll help it slide up in there a little bit easier. Basically, you just got to manhandle it in place. Just like that. Goes right in. From here, on top, this is your upper spring isolator. You can see the two tabs. They are at lock position in the actual mount of the frame. The spacer kit has that as well. Make sure you take that, put that, lock it in there, just like that. What this does, it gives a cushion for the spring itself. You don't get squeaks and so forth, banging, clicking, going down the road. Slide that up in there, and that will sit just like that. From here, spring back installed. We've got to fight with that because now we have an extra 2 inches. We'll start tightening everything up. As far as the control arm, nuts and bolts, we're not going to tighten them up until we have full weight of the vehicle and get the alignment done. Start it out like this, you'll end up being like this. We're going to fix that too. But let's get the rest of these springs back in here, keep on rocking, and we can move on to the rear. Alright guys, we already got our rear wheels and tires removed. From here, very similar to the front. Got to disconnect the sway bar link, pull out the rear shock, loosen the control arm bolts. Do not take them out. You'll be fighting this axle all flopping around. You may pull the drive shaft out. It's just going to get real loose on you. That'll help locate the axle so you don't have to worry about it. We're going to pull our track bar out. At that point, we can get our factory springs out so we can put our spacer in. New spacer is actually bolted in, so once we get all this loosened and disconnected, get the springs out, we'll show you how to get that bolted in, and this should go just as easy as the front. This can be done in your driveway with hand tools. I've got about 40 minutes into the front, and the rear probably be just about the same. Figure 2.5 hours, hand tools, you can have this done. So it's a little fighting with a jack and a jack stand, but anybody who does anything at home knows all about that all too well. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll get this out of here, and then we'll take it for a test drive. Let spring settle, get some final measurements, see how much we actually came up. All right, now that we got the springs out on the rear kit is very similar to the front. However, there's only one locating pin. And what this is your upper spring isolator. You want to make sure that you keep that in the stock location. You don't get it all cattywampus, moved around. You want to make sure that it sits where it should be, nice and flat on the top. Otherwise, you'll have a spring bind, could kick out, who knows, will squeak. So the rear kit is actually bolted in. It does not sit in flush. Now take this bolt
there is a washer. That washer, once you get this bolt set loosely in place to the top of the frame, will sit on top of the frame. Because up underneath, there's a big hole where the spring goes. So that little bolt's not going to fit. We got to try and get it in here above the spring cup. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Get this whole mess in there, bolted down, so we can keep on going.
Mid-slip in the Jeep. I tell you, it's never a dull moment around here. Just had a rollback show up.
That's what's coming off.
97 Supra. Gotta do a little work to it. Got to get the engine bay made. So I love my job.
Back on the Jeep. Got that large hole in the spring pocket that I showed you. The easiest way to do that, take the bolt, put it up through the pocket itself. Once you see that, make sure that you slide the big washer at the top of it. You want to have it look just like that, but up on top. The little washer has to go above the spacer, that way the bolt will turn. Set your spacer in. Make sure your alignment tab follows with the corresponding hole in the cup. Loosely place your nut on the bottom. Alright, now here's what you're after. You got the spacer in, nut and bolt. You got the spacer on top, take up the slack and the big hole in the top of the spring cup. This is incredibly difficult to do by yourself. You got to make sure everything stays aligned while you tighten the lock nut. So definitely get an assistant to help you. It will make your life a whole lot easier. But it's in. We're gonna do the other side. Throw our springs back in it. Have this thing done. Well, we got her off the lift, got it out of the shop, and take this thing for a test drive, and well, see how she feels. I've heard a couple people say these things ride a little rougher after that. Could be because the shocks are overextended, I'm not sure. But once we get back, springs are settled, we'll get it on the alignment rack, check the caster, get the steering wheel centered. I can already see it's a little off, so here we go. Well, so far so good. That Magnuson pulls pretty darn good. It's not a performance car, but I'll tell you what, it's definitely pulling the weight of this Jeep in them 35s like they're not even there. I'm very impressed with it. Being a V6, she hauls pretty good. Well, speed hump's coming up. Let's see what we got. We didn't do a shock upgrade, but talking to the owner, that is in the works. That's next plan for the suspension. Handled it pretty well. All right, guys, well, there she is. Got our JL project wrapped up for this episode. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, you'll get notified. New videos coming out. Just waiting for the owner to show up. I think he's going to be pretty happy with the just the minor lift that we did on there. So, but remember, subscribe. We got more coming up. We got to finish a few projects around the shop, but definitely we got more in the works. Stay tuned. Keep watching. See you guys.